vanish.
Hey, what's happening to you guys? Extreme Fire Sonic here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a first impression on We Happy Few, a game that's been developed by Compulsion Game, which focuses around pretty much survival tactics and exploration and trying to figure out what exactly has happened to a town called Wellington Wells. Now, this game is set back in the 1960s, where pretty much a village, from my knowledge, has done something really bad to defeat the Soviet invasion, but because of that action they have been put to a state where they would rather prefer to take drugs to avoid remembering the things that they've done and to avoid seeing damage that their action has committed. And pretty much this drug is called joy, and joy, what it does is it gives you joy. It makes you see things that aren't there, like it makes you see, buildings being fine, people are flying, well, not flying really, birds are flying, and dogs are barking, just nice stuff. But then after a while, one person called Arthur Hastings sees the newspaper with him and his brother, and that brings back painful memories, but actually important memories for him to actually break out of this joy and pretty much now try to escape the village. And people who don't take the drugs are called downers, I believe, and essentially the goal is for you to escape the village by doing various weird missions. Like I've done some crazy ass missions. I've done some missions where I walked up to someone in a treehouse who is playing with dolls, and he believes those dolls are actually real people. I've seen people ask me to take their bodies to other parts of the town. It's like crazy stuff. So essentially it has a mix of Bioshock Infinite and Fallout, which is what caught my interest when I first saw it at E3. That and also the dark tone. Like I think in the trailer they showed us a really happy town, a really friendly situation. Then when you actually get off the drugs, you start to seeing some creepy ass stuff. So there's a lot of stuff in this game. There's crafting, there's potentially what there was something else I was able to do. Oh yeah, you had certain mechanics like hunger, thirst, sickness. Pretty much if you played games like Fallout that had those type of mechanics, you will kind of get the idea of what I'm getting at. So visually the game looks pretty good, to be honest. Really, it got me immersed in the world of that is supposed to be a dystopian, retro-futuristic fashion society that's on the verge of collapse. So it got that thing down anyways. And currently what I'm playing now, that you have seen in the background, is currently in early alpha, and they're saying that all of the key components, like the main players, the open world, it's still not there yet. So we are pretty much stuck in more of a enclosed environment. So pretty much that. The game offers you permanent death at the beginning of the game. Like it actually has permanent death ticked on. So I'm assuming you're supposed to play the game with permanent death on, but for me, I didn't actually do that because I actually wanted to explore the game, figure out what it's all about, and learn the mechanics that come with it. So I'm not gonna delve too much into the story, but gameplay wise, it plays pretty well. Like it's supposed to be a survival game with a lot of sneaking and stealth, but I haven't actually reached that point yet. What I've just done is exploring the world. It has a day and night cycle which actually goes by really quickly. There are some mechanics in the game that kind of made me have to go back to my base on numerous occasions. For instance, my character would get sleepy really fast for some reason. Like after doing some jogging, walking around, he would get really fast. The townsmen, the people in the town, they all have some weird and unique dialogues to them. Like some people would say like, get the fuck away from them. Other people would say like, I used to be a marine, now I'm stuck here. Other people would just go batshit crazy. I actually walked up to a point where somebody was worshipping a map. Like shit was really bad. So the game itself, like it's in first person perspective, so there's no third person view, but it kind of helps you, I guess, immerse yourself into it. So like I said before, earlier on, you have the ability to collect resources and craft tools, and certain tools you need to craft to actually progress further on into the game. Like you'll have the ability to craft medicines, clothes, weapons, specific items. There's a lot of crafting is a huge part of the game, and you need to be able to learn the mechanics early on to be able to progress pretty much into the game. So for me personally, I actually enjoyed the game. It's pretty interesting. It has an interesting concept to it, and one of the actually interesting things for me anyways is that you actually get the drugs that gets people hallucinated in the game. Like the whole purpose of the game, you know, the drugs that's causing people to hallucinate. It's like you actually, if you collect enough of them, you can actually see the entire world in a completely different perspective than the usual perspective that you would get. But yeah, it's pretty unique. I'm having fun playing it, and when it comes to the townspeople, they have certain mechanics to them that's actually pretty interesting. Now, when you do certain missions or when you behave in a certain way, they'll start to take notice of it. Like you'll start to see like a big eyeball pop up on top of their head, and it turns out, from my experience, that from what I've done anyways, they actually remember what you do. It's because there were certain times I spared someone. I would have killed them, but I actually just spared them to see what they'll do, and they will start to run around town yelling that there's some crazy guy going around killing people, doing crazy stuff. Like, you know, you just go around just yelling, warning people. And as he did that, I start to notice the community around me begin to change their attitude towards me. Like they will start getting eyeballs above their heads. They will start to look at me as I walk past them, and soon enough, like I will have the entire town chase after me and try to take me down. So that was actually a pretty cool thing that happened to me in the game. I'm not sure if that was just like a one-time occurrence where I just happened to have done something in a sequence that led up to that point, but if that's in a mechanic that actually is part of the game, that's pretty interesting too. Now, I did talk about joy, which is the drug that people take, but I never really told you guys what the joy actually does. So pretty much, the joy, when you take the drug and you start to see things in a much brighter, you know, much happier way, you will not get as hungry, as tired, and as quickly as you would when you are away from the drug. So taking the drug and seeing things in a more pleasant way will actually keep you alive much longer. And if you stay away from the drug for too long, you'll start to hallucinate visions of butterflies and stuff like that. So honestly, for my first impression, you know, the game is pretty interesting. I feel like there's a lot of things people can do with this game in terms of just content, in terms of just exploration, and you know, it's a pretty interesting game. And from my understanding of it, I think it might have the type of options where if you make a decision, that decision will permanently affect you know, the rest of the story, because at the beginning of the game it gives you the options of if you want to take the drug again or if you want to just put it away. So when I saw that, I thought to myself, okay, maybe there might be options where you have to make decisions and that decision will impact the rest of the story. But so far I haven't actually had any type of missions that made me think, okay, if I do this, will this be the will this be the cause of my decision, or will this like end up just be nothing? But anyways, that's my first impression of the game. It's pretty interesting. I would suggest, I guess, holding off a little bit until they work a little bit more into the game before you buying it. But it's pretty big enough for someone to buy it and not feel like they've wasted that money, because you know, for me, it's pretty fun. Like, you know, there's a lot of things to do, a lot of things to find. If exploration is really a thing, and survival as well. Like, this has more of a pretty much exploration and survival mechanic towards it. So if you're someone who enjoys Bioshock or Fallout, it has a mixture of those two things combined. So that's something that will probably interest those who are more towards that type of game. So yeah, guys, that's it for me. I'm gonna continue on play the game, and you know, if I find something new, I might just make a video about it. But for now, this is just my first impression of the game. I have, I think, almost 2 hours into the game, so that's just it. I'll probably put it in the title anyways. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like this video and comment in your opinions of the game if you've played it yourself or if you have questions. And I'm StreamPySonic, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. I thought the transformation was a joke, to be honest, really. But when I looked at it again, I was like, okay, there might be some possibility that this transformation might actually be good. Like, for instance, the humans, when they go to